All right, thank you for staying with us. It's time now to take a look at stories making headlines on Nigerian newspapers, and I begin with the Nigerian News Direct. The major story here says, Chicago Varsity, controversy trails release of Tinubu's academic credential. Tinubu is spending dollars to suppress certificate release. Labour Party chieftain is saying this. And another writer here, he should have saved Nigerians this embarrassment. Obi Ezekwesili is speaking as well. And then we see a picture here where the governor of Ogun State is being received by Ogun Civil Service, members of the Ogun State Civil Service and other government functionaries who are congratulating the governor for his electoral victory at the tribunal. And this happened at his Okimosan office. And some other stories here. Erupts to probe Pencom are set to recover 10 trillion federal government loan. Tinubu forwards 3 new ministerial nominees to Senate. Oyo is open to partnership on agribusiness, mineral development, others. The governor is speaking there. Ondo Assembly petitions NJC to investigate embattled deputy governor. All right. You find all the details on the front page of the Nigerian News Direct. To the Punch newspaper, Tinubu's credentials. APC lampoons Atiku, ex-vice president, set to submit documents in Supreme Court. And the writer here says Atiku's journey to Chicago Varsity a fruitless exercise. Ex-vice president a loser, says APC. President's document released by Varsity have vindicated us, PDP insists. All right, and Minister Tinubu picks Balarabe to replace Erufai. Mubad, police detain Naira Mali. And we also have a picture here where IHS Towers Executive Vice President of Communication, Colby, and the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as well as the Executive Vice President of IHS Towers in a picture here. Then on the corner here, Ayeda Tiwa Ondo Assembly asks CJ to raise impeachment panel. Ondo Assembly asks the Chief Justice to raise impeachment panel. Another story here, 2 killed as last mile official driver clash, local government office raised. 22 drown as boat capsizes in Niger, 6 bodies recovered. A sad one there. And 100 billion naira CNG buses. Senate rejects CBN loans, warns Tinubu against illegal spending. To 17 independent discos get licenses, then operational. All right, all the details of the stories on the front page of the Punch newspaper. To the Daily Times now. Scandal rocks presidential villa all over Tinubu's U.S. educational records. Huriwa, Berogi react. Some writers there reacting. Moms the word from presidency. Right. Another story here. Lalong raises committee to resolve complaints over NSITF. Reps Deputy Speaker Lord's federal government labor for averting strike. Oyo APC gloom over lack of reward by Abuja. Amid impeachment rumbling, Akpabio tightens hold on power. First-time senators knocked out of race for Senate presidency. All right, find all the details on the front page of the Daily Times. To the First News newspaper now. Suspended strike. Our negotiation with federal government at preliminary stage, NLC is speaking and says we'll ask for realistic minimum wage, urges federal government to keep its part of the bargain. And the picture again of Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun at his Okimosan office in Abeokuta in a celebration move over his recent victory at the Ogun State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal. Another story here, Mohbad's death, police arrest Naira Mali after arrival in Nigeria. And IPAC hails Ogun Tribunal verdict, congratulates Governor Abiodun. Impeachment set-up panel on Deputy Governor Ondo Assembly directs the Chief Justice. DSS arrests woman who threatened suicide bombing over Kanu Guba judgment. And top here, CSU confirms Tinubu, now president of Nigeria, graduated from school. Reps move to recover 10 trillion naira pension fund borrowed by federal government. Be patient with Tinubu, Oni pleads with Nigerians. All the details on the front page of the First News newspaper. To the Nation newspaper now. Agreement with organized labor to cost federal government 2 trillion naira. Agreement with organized labor to cost federal government 2 trillion naira. Another story here. Tinubu's certificate in order. Chicago State University deposes in court. Former student, now Nigeria's president. All the details on the front page of the Nation newspaper. And to the Guardian newspaper now. Hurdles for federal government 2024 budget, over 10 trillion naira deficit, palliatives. And we have a picture representation of the 2022 federal the budget implementation report. You look at the expenditure, 810 trillion naira was earmarked. And then we just see some of the depiction there on the front page. And then another story here, Tinubu nominates Balarabe to replace El-Rufai to others. Lawmakers bar first-term members from Senate presidency. Greener pasture, tackling mass exodus on desert Mediterranean routes. That's the news analysis on the front page of the Guardian newspaper. Kemi.
On the Daily Independent, the lead story there is on reps, members of the House of Representatives, who have decided to probe 15.5 trillion naira pension assets as well as 10 trillion naira advance to the federal government. They also are set to urge governments to stop killing of peasant farmers across Nigeria and ask the IGP to secure release of abducted corps members in Zamfara State. Some other stories on the front page of Daily Independent reads that our negotiation with FG at preliminary stage. This is according to the Nigeria Labour Congress, which reached a deal somewhat with the federal government and called off an intended nationwide strike early Tuesday. FG asks diphtheria-impacted states to make face mask compulsory, declares Kano State as epicenter of the disease. Again, Ondo Assembly asks CJ to raise impeachment panel against the deputy governor and petitions NJC, that's the Judicial Council, over the Federal High Court restraining order. On the leadership this morning, impeachment plot is the big story as Senate amends rules to ward off threats against Senate President Godswill Akpabio, stops Yari and other first-timers from eyeing Senate presidency. In the meantime, concerns mount over non-inauguration of 74 standing committees. Up there, lawyers commend CSU, that's the Chicago State University, over prompt release of Tinubu's academic records. On Blueprint, CJN, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, is directing justices that do not allow technicalities stand in the way of justice, charges judicial officers to resolve lingering crises in courts. Tinubu tasks the Judicial Institute on Perception of Judiciary, Lords EFCC on anti-graft war, and says my administration determined to bring corruption to its knees. Above that, Army orders probe into alleged poor feeding of troops. VON DG tackles Atiku over Tinubu's Chicago Varsity certificate row. It's cheaper constructing concrete roads, that's according to the Minister of Roads, Dave Umahi, and 62 million Nigerians to benefit from cash transfer, 1.5 million from Iyaloja Fund, this according to the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Betta Edu. On the Daily Trust, Nigerian Airlines race to meet 6 aircraft requirements, get January 2025 deadline and new regulations, but there are concerns that many airlines may fizzle out, just as experts are calling for a merger somewhat. Analysis of the number of scheduled airlines in Nigeria, that's the pictorial diagram that we see on the front page of Daily Trust to buttress its lead story about the state of Nigerian airlines, the capacity that is in the new drive to beef up the sector by the minister. Reps to probe 15.5 trillion naira pension assets and uncover 10 trillion naira from the federal government. Dunamis pastor killed in Benue church collapse. This and more on the front page of Daily Trust. And finally, is This Nigeria, which says 24,720 gender-based violence recorded nationwide in 1 month as Minister Uju Ohaneye raises an alarm. Federal governments to review 2017 national policy on justice to encapsulate sexual and gender-based violence. The picture story there is also buttressing this lead story on This Nigeria, showing the high-powered delegation of stakeholders at the engagement with states as convened by the Minister of Women Affairs in Abuja on Tuesday. And Naira Marley arrives Lagos vows to assist the police unraveling Mohbad's death. Divergent views also trailing Tinubu's CSU certificate. All this on This Nigeria. Veronica.
Let's look at the last story you spoke about, because it's quite alarming to see that we have recorded 24,720 gender-based violence cases between September and October, just a month. And one wonders why. That's the big question. What is happening? Is it that the laws we put in place are not being implemented? Is it about a matter of people not understanding that this violence against persons is not the right way to go? What really is at the root of these numbers we are recording? And I saw another report that said that in Kaduna alone, there are about 3,000 and something cases recorded in a month. Now, this case is recorded across the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory. That's a lot. That's a lot. If we must say in just a month, what really is at the heart of this? If we must, because that's the only way we can get to the root of this matter and address it. Because the minister is saying that government is committed to addressing these matters, but then we must understand the root cause such that we are not treating the symptoms. It is that we are getting to the root of the matter if we want to eliminate it to the barest minimum.
It is a rather alarming figure, and it also, on the positive side, analysts might say it shows an increase in reporting. But, you know, that is just one dimension of this hydra-headed problem that we have on our hands. If this much people are reporting, there are bound to be some other, you know, significant numbers of persons who aren't, who are still being deterred due to fear, intimidation, and, you know, other concerns, you know, who do not report. So there is need to take these conversations further. In the breakdown by the minister, Uju Ohaneye, on Tuesday, she said out of these 24,700 you know, cases across the country, only 306 convictions have been recorded over the past 4 years. And, you know, that is, you know, also very pitiable.
A matter.
Very, very pitiable, because this 24,000 figure and counting is just within a month. And then you're having a 306 number of conviction within 4 years. And
it goes to show that the road to justice is a tortuous one.
It's slow.
It's slow, and that is one matter we need to look into critically.
True.
How it is that we address the matter of justice. And she went ahead to talk about having mobile courts
as a solution.
As a solution, especially in rural areas, for persons to understand the law, and that there are implications for your actions as it is. But how far will that go in addressing it is also a matter.
It should help.
It should help, yes.
Help. At least those ones who focus on
if we do not create some level of awareness, some people who are abused do not know that they are being abused as it is. That's on the one hand. And those who are perpetuating this abuse think that culture allows it. How do you correct? How do you do what is necessary? Be you whatever gender you belong as it is, they feel that culture empowers them to do some of these things. And you know how it is, how we are when we talk about the matter of culture, and we as a people separating that to addressing matters of gender-based violence is critical. And so I believe that there's the aspect of the law, there's aspect of creating awareness and educating persons who might be going through these challenges. Reporting is good, but it's not enough if we are not yet eliminating or bringing these matters to the barest minimum as it is.
It does show that government needs to do so much more in addition to their partners. In Lagos State, for example, now it is such a whole war. The government, giving zero tolerance to this burden on its hands, and everybody is on all fours, even the journalists, the average journalists. The courts are also there. There's a special court. And, because the problem, on the other hand, is that even when the girls or the survivors are brave enough to report and stay on the case, because it's one thing to report, it's another thing to also press on. Because there is also a significant number of persons who report, but out of pressure from, religious bodies, from traditional leaders and the likes, they drop out, and there goes the case. Without the survivor to, give the needed evidence, the case is thrown out. So there is a need for the court system to also encourage victims or survivors, as the case may be, to, stay on the matter. Special courts, the mobile court system might just, work, so that at least they know that there is a place where there's a court that focuses on such issue, and then justice will not be slow, which also defeats the purpose. And it is a whole whole out thing. SGBV is portrayed across various crimes. You mentioned a crucial point. Okay, you could also argue that defilement, how is defilement, for example, a cultural, accepted in any culture, but that might be outrageous generally. But then the issue of domestic assault now might be seen as you, the woman, your husband is the head of the family, so whatever he gives you, take it as your lot as a woman. You shouldn't speak out. So there are so many dimensions to this.
Of course.
And the job is cut out. There is need for multidimensional and continuous engagement with all parties, and so that everyone can join the government in.
That's why awareness
war.
is key. Awareness is key, so that people can understand that you don't have to cover up anyone who is found to be culpable perpetrating this act. The person must be brought to book so that others can learn. So if this awareness is not created, a lot of persons will still be in this matter of cover-ups. Is our family, we need to ensure that we keep our own, we cover our own, we protect our own. But how far is that helping us as a country is a matter as we speak. Over 24,000 cases in a month with regards to sexual and gender-based violence is not healthy for us as a country. We'll leave it there now and quickly move on to the next issue.